Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
Yes, welcome to Tomorrow's Legends. Hello, Leaguers. Is that what we're going to go with for the series? We're going to have to workshop that. Maybe we can get some suggestions from our listeners. Send them in with your feedback. What do we, Justice Leaguers, that sounds great, but if you guys have some other ideas, go for it. We are here to begin our journey with the Justice League animated series, one of the best there is, and we're kicking it off with a 3-part premiere called Secret Origins, and I am really excited to get back to this fantastic show. I am the Flash, a different world version, not the one we're going to be watching, but still the Flash.
I'm Harley Quinn.
And I'm on duty outside the watchtower. I'm X-Force 11.
Oh yeah, because you can hang out in space if you put a green bubble around you.
Well, a blue one, but
Or
yeah.
blue one, yeah, blue, exactly. And I need you to carry me up to the dang space station. I can't run up there.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. This is exciting. We are kicking off coverage of our new show. We're going to be here for a little while. There's, 26 episodes of the Justice League in this first season. But covering the first 3, we'll probably get through it pretty quick, and then we got season 2 and stuff. So it's great to be here. Great to get into it. You are listening to one of the shows on the Cybercast Network. We began with Legends of Tomorrow, and then we moved on to Stargirl and Superman and Lois and Jupiter's Legacy and the Tomorrow People, and we also added X-Men 97, and now we're doing Justice League. So welcome, everybody. Also, check out Dive Into DC. They cover everything in the DC world, comic books, TV shows, movies, you name it, they cover it. That's with the Silver Box and Green Butterfly over there. And then The Mandalore is also here, and we cover all the Star Wars on Disney+. And we are excitedly waiting for Andor Season 2, which isn't until April. 3-month break from Star Wars, but we'll figure something out over there to record.
I just finished right before Christmas my rewatch of Season 1. So good.
I'm going to be getting to that soon, for sure. Excellent. We do have a little bit of news. Let's see. Where is everything? Here it is.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
So I just caught this about an hour before we came online here. Ulrich Thomsen, an actor from Denmark, has been cast as Sinestro, our bad guy, former Green Lantern, now Yellow Lantern, in the Lantern series coming next year that we'll be covering. And he's been in a lot of shows, but you may recognize him from a run in season 3 and 4 of The Blacklist and the TV show Banshees. And he also played a bad guy in the Bond film The World Is Not Enough.
Oh, right.
So those are kind of some areas where you might know him from. So it's kind of interesting, typical bad guy, but it's definitely going to stretch some different things here, being kind of a lantern, and this more than an alien actually. And so it's kind of interesting because this series was like this kind of buddy cop on Earth looking into stuff, and we've gotten casting news about different stuff, but this is the first instance of bringing in like somebody off planet to be a part of it. So it's kind of interesting. I didn't know that they were going to even have Sinestro in this. So
yeah, the Green Lantern universe it covers the entire galaxy, right? So they have to be careful, because I think they could lose some people if they go so big and expand it to the entire galaxy right away without first explaining what the Green Lantern universe is about. They might lose people. So hopefully it's a slow world building process to bring everybody in. That would be, I think, the best way to go about it.
Yeah, and I'm seeing we may get some flashbacks, since we've got 2 lanterns on Earth, and Sinestro helped in the training of of the core for a while before he went rogue. We may get to see some flashbacks there. So we'll see.
Cool.
Interesting.
Very, very good. That's going to be exciting. I can't wait when that eventually comes around for us full circle. It's going to be fun. It's going to be excellent. I mean, because Green Lanterns, it's a superhero show, but it's also kind of like a space sci-fi show with everything revolved around him. So it's kind of going to be, I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yep.
Yeah. And just excuse me for a moment. I got to do a little shameless self-promotion here. You guys have been listening to Old Flash here for 10 years on all the various podcasts. If you want to actually see me in action on TV, I'm in a TV show. The premiere was tonight. It is called Marooned, and it is basically Survivor in 6 days. So if you guys know the TV show Survivor, they play for 26 days. We played for 6 days. So they just because of copyright stuff, we can't call it Survivor, but it is Survivor through and through. Everything about the show is Survivor. It is called Marooned, and you can go to YouTube to Marooned LRG to find episode 1, which just premiered tonight, Friday night. So it'll be 1 episode a week every Friday until a winner is proclaimed. So check out Old Flash on Marooned there, playing a reality game.
Nice.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I watched it right before we got on here, and I'm so excited. They did such a good job in editing. It feels like a Survivor episode. That the cameras aren't as high quality as what you're going to see on a $1 billion TV show, but they still did a good job. So check that out. Gideon.
Yes, Captain.
Where are you? Like, get your butt to the bridge.
Right away, Captain.
Okay, we missed her in the beginning. She is here. Let's get on to our ratings of these first 3 episodes.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right. I gave this one 8 amazing introductions.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to be back and fun to be watching this series again. This series came out just a month after 9/11, and it was a well-needed show, both bringing in some lighthearted fun and entertainment, but also providing heroes to cheer for.
Yeah.
So, I really, it's nice to be getting back to it. And I've got a soft spot for the series because it truly introduced me to Green Lantern, and especially John Stewart. And that got me back into DC Comics. I started picking up the Green Lantern comics. Of course, it was Kyle. Kyle was the Lantern at the time. But, John is a standout in the series, and we get to see him introduced here. But Martian Manhunter is so cool in this series, and it was great to see him bringing the team together in these episodes. And I thought it was just a really good start.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Harley, because you've never seen this, so I'm curious how this began for you, and are you excited to get going on this one? So let's hear it.
All right, so I gave this one 8 Justice League formations, and overall, I'll say it's not too bad. Not too bad. It took me an episode and a half to kind of get used to like the animation and the style. It's just every time I start watching an animated series, like it just kind of like takes me a minute to kind of get into it, just because I'm so used to watching like a live action kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But overall, I thought it was really a pretty good story arc. I enjoyed how everything got set up with Sean, and of course, the Batman ends up saving the day. I mean, what's not to love about that? And then I also thought that they really showcased everyone's strengths pretty well, and that we kind of see how they're going to work together as a team. The only problem, and I know this is something we've talked about before and we'll definitely talk about throughout this episode, is just with all superhero stuff, it's just such a highly super powered team. And so it's just, how do they keep the villains believable and like dynamic storylines and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure they will, because it's a comic book, it's a cartoon, so they don't have these standard limitations that we normally do. So I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. And I really thought the alien invasion was pretty well done, and that they were a formidable foe. So it set it up to have the need and the premise for the Justice League well, of like why they felt the need to come together and to like band together as like a force to watch over the Earth. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Good. So pretty good start then.
Pretty good start. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm giving this one an 8.5. Things escalate quickly. As animated series go, I think this is one of the best starts to a series. It establishes a lot of things in the first 3 episodes, like what the stories are going to be like, the personalities of the characters, the relationships that are all just beginning between them all. It lays down the unspoken rules of this superhero universe, what's possible and what's allowed, and it also presents the animation style, which still holds up pretty decent, I think, because it's really well done. It's a great start, and it settles you in for a lengthy season that's coming, 26 episodes. It's going to be a really enjoyable ride, and like Jeff said, I'm just excited to get back to it because I haven't seen it for years. And the voice acting, we'll talk all about it, but I loved all of this cast of characters. They're so fun, so it's going to be a good run, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's move into our show.
Gather together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
All right, so I got to the notes, and I'm going to lay down the law for how we're going to run it tonight. We are going to kick it off by just introducing our voice cast, because there's some voices you may recognize, and there's some people you may be surprised, like, oh, that's the voice of this character? So I thought it'd be great to just kind of get over everybody's, who's playing who in the show. So we're going to start off with Superman, and that is voiced by George Newbern. And if you don't know the name, think back to the Father of the Bride movies with Steve Martin. And those movies were all about his daughter first getting married and then having her first baby. Well, George Newbern is her fiance. He's the one that she's trying to marry in the first movie, and then he's the one who's the dad of her first kid in the second movie. If you go back and watch those movies, you go, oh, that's Superman. Wow, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And then after that, Batman, of course, it's got to be Kevin Conroy, the greatest Batman voice of all time from all the other Batman animated shows. Kevin Conroy is here to lend his talents to the show, and I don't think we could have any other Batman other than him here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They just do, the two of them do a good job throughout the series, but yeah, Conroy is just iconic.
Totally
Yeah,
iconic.
it is.
Yeah. Wonder Woman is played by Susan Eisenberg. You may not know her to see her, but she is a voice actress for so many cartoons and video games. You might not know the name, but if you looked her up on IMDb, you'll see a whole slew of video games and stuff like that she'll be in. So you may recognize her from some of those if you're a big gamer. The Flash, of course, that one you should recognize. That is Michael Rosenbaum, our very own Lex Luthor of Smallville fame. When you watch him on Smallville and then you listen to him play the Flash, he is my favorite character on the show. And it's not because I like the Flash, but he is so good at his comic timing in this show. It's amazing, and you'll get to appreciate it as this goes on. Then Green Lantern is voiced by none other than Phil Lamar, who is a voice actor in countless you can't even count how many shows he has done. He is all over every single cartoon there is out there. He's in it. Japanese anime, whatever it is, he's involved. So very, very familiar voice. This is the one that I think may surprise a few people. John Jones, aka the Martian Manhunter, is Carl Lumbly. I don't know if you guys recognize the name Carl Lumbly, but he is an actor that you would recognize as soon as you saw him. You'd go, oh, that guy. He's been a supporting actor in so many big budget movies and TV shows. Most recently, you maybe recognize him from Falcon and Winter Soldier. He was in the
Yes.
Alias series. Yeah, so if you look up Carl Lumbly, you'll recognize his face right away.
Yeah.
He also was John's father in the Supergirl series.
Yeah, he played John Jones's father in the Supergirl series. So so that was a neat homage to like him playing another Martian, but not John.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
Exactly. So very, very famous actor. Like I said, you recognize him. And then Hawkgirl was Maria Canals Barrera, and she's mainly been a lot of supporting roles in films and TV shows. And from everything that I looked up, mostly kind of Latin America type roles, because I believe that's what her background is. So she's introducing Hawkgirl for us here. So there's your voice cast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. That was good. That was a good breakdown. I mean, there's definitely some people I know and some people that I don't. So I like that, put it up here at the top of the series.
Check them all out. So let's
Super
kick it
helpful.
off with an origin story, because that's what this is. And rather than start with individual origin stories for each hero, all the characters that we notice are pretty much established in their own right already. So the story begins the origin of the Justice League and how they all come together for the first time, which I actually really like. Like, we're not wasting time. We're not trying to go through each individual story. We should know who all these characters are if you know of the Justice League. And let's just jump right in. Let's get going. Let's team these guys up and go. And I think it works for the cartoon.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I love a really good origin story. Like, it's just something that always really speaks to me. And so I enjoyed that this was actually an origin for the Justice League itself, as opposed to, like you said, like they traditionally do, where they introduce each character and then they slowly build it up. And, you know, I could have seen that go both ways, where they're like slowly building the team or whatever. But I like it. We just, you know, we jump right in. We have them essentially like assembled, even though they don't know what they're going to call themselves.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of fun. And then of course when they all like first show up on the scene, just because of the way they had started it, I was expecting everyone to actually already know each other, except for maybe Jean, but then it was kind of the other way around. And so I liked that they sort of played on that, and that they were kind of having fun of trying to figure out, it's like, who are you and why are you here and where did she come from?
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Because like you said, some of them know of each other, but they maybe haven't met yet. So it's yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off by the episode title.
Oh, Secret Origins.
Yeah,
because you would think it would have to do with our heroes, but not entirely. I mean, we did get to see some origins there, but we got to see the origin, like Flash said, of the League and how it formed, but also the origins of our enemies, these aliens, as well. And so it was a good misdirect to think, okay, I'm gonna get to see the secret origins of all of my characters, but no, it's a little broader. So I think it was a good misdirect there. So
yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, totally. And then kind of going along what you were saying, Harley, like everybody kind of knew of each other, but except for Wonder Woman, who is actually introducing herself to everyone for the first time, which I think was pretty fun, because some of them weren't sure of her abilities. They're like, hey, rookie, like, what are you doing here? We don't need your help, kind of thing. And then, I mean, Flash, of course, he just immediately runs to her side, flirting with the tall Amazon, and I'm already laughing at Flash, because he's just like, hey, you know. But I, like you guys were saying, I like the setup of everyone having to get to know her. And she gets to prove herself pretty quickly. Like right off the bat, she saves Hawkgirl, and you know she flies in, and everybody's like, "Who is this girl?" But we get the chance to see her introduce herself to the world, which was kind of cool. So she has a very quick origin, but we all knew who she was. We all know Themyscira and origin, so they didn't need to show us all of that. But it was neat to see her introduce herself to the team for the first time, and they all got to like, whoa.
It was fun. I mean, I did really kind of enjoy that scene of them all just kind of like coming together, and you think they all know each other and they definitely don't.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
And then I liked too, like the way they animated the show. I like that they made sure to show us just how towering of a woman she is. Like, she's an Amazon, and when you see her standing against the team, she's taller than most of them. So it's pretty cool.
That's true.
Yeah, I really liked how we got to see her introduction and how naive she is, but not naive in a traditional sense, but naive to the world outside the island. And it was just refreshing to kind of see the world through her eyes in, you know, how she's looking at things and judging, because she's only heard about the outside world before. And it was great to see her step up and just really kick butt. So yeah, it was a great introduction.
Very much so. And like you said, like naive, she's not stupid. She just hasn't seen the world of men. That's how they worded it in the show. Like, the world of men. Right. Her mom's trying to warn her, and she's like, no, I think I should go help. And when she's there, or she's on the scene, she's like, whoa. Like, there's a couple moments where she's talking to Green Lantern on the rooftop. She's like, man, what's wrong with these people? They're acting like a bunch of simpletons, cavemen. And, you know, and he's like, there's some bad people out there, but there's also some good people. And then the camera switches to two beefy-looking biker dudes, and they're like, help, we got to save these kids stuck under the fallen building pieces. And you're like, see? Like, two guys that you wouldn't expect to be helpful are the ones that are actually trying to save the kids. So I think it was a good spot for her to see that there is different types of humans, and some are good, some are bad. It was great for her. Like you said, Jeff, we're seeing through her eyes the world before her. Like, she's getting to understand in a very fast amount of time.
Yeah, like I thought it was a good twist that she was new to the team and also kind of like new to our world in a lot of ways. It did confuse me a little bit because when she's on Themyscira, she has like the whole Wonder Woman costume. So it was almost to me like she had been in our world and then like gone back and kind of like retired Wonder Woman. Am I saying this right? And then she like then she ultimately kind of gets to come back and like help with this threat, because I'm not as familiar with the comics, and so I feel like in the movies like she was more like a big hero during like the 1940s, and so that would sort of track with that timeline, but that may not be what they were going for in this. It was confusing to me because she had like the whole costume, and I'm like, isn't the only reason you have the costume like because you're part of our world, or is that something different?
So here's the deal. In some of the comic reality, her mother was actually out in the world, and she was like out fighting and doing, and kind of in some interpretation she was the Justice Society's Wonder Woman.
Okay, so it's
so
she was taking up her mantle,
right? So it may be that's the case here, because I don't really think she's gone off the island and come back, because I think she does has that line about asking her mom for forgiveness when she's taking this stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of the feel I'm getting.
Okay. I was thinking she was asking for forgiveness because she was leaving the island and going and doing what her mom told her, like, not to do. But that makes sense as if, I mean, it's in that vein as well, but also because she's taking her costume and everything. Okay, that makes more sense. That's helpful, because I was like, this is a little confusing because she does very much act like she's never seen our world before. So it was confusing to me. Okay,
that's the only scene I could call back to, is we see her cloaked and she's sneaking through the pyramid, and she's like, I'm sorry, Mom, please forgive me. She grabs the stuff and goes. So the way I kind of took it was that is reserved for like the protector of the island, that outfit. I mean, I know we've seen in other Wonder Woman origin stories before, like, she doesn't get the stars and stripes and all that designed until she's actually already here in America. That's why stars and stripes. But there, I just felt like it's the symbol of the protector of Themyscira, and whoever that is gets to wear that outfit. So she's like, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm going to take this. And off she goes. But
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Who knows? Again, we all kind of have an idea of what her origin is, so we just had to see her get to the mainland, which is cool.
Cool.
And then Hawkgirl truly gets a real intro here as well, because we've never really seen Hawkgirl in action before. Not really animated, not even live action. Like, when this cartoon came out, Hawkgirl was never a character on the scene. Nobody knows her other than the comic book. She's just been sort of a side, distant, supporting character. So for me, it was really nice to see her brought into the spotlight and see the power of her Thanagarian mace that she wields. I mean, there's so much more coming to her story in this series, and it's going to really help you get to know her if you don't know her very well, Harley. This series really spotlights her really well, and it brings Hawkgirl to the forefront. And like I've told you guys when we've mentioned this show before, she is probably my favorite character on the show next to Flash. I just love Hawkgirl. She's just as tough, doesn't take crap for anything, like, just lays down the law with her mace. That's it. Like, and it's kind of funny because sometimes she doesn't listen. She just goes in swinging without asking questions. But she's a lot of fun, and she's got a great Thanagarian background. So what did you guys think of Hawkgirl's intro here?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we see how headstrong she is. Yeah. And little else in this episode, but I know Flash knows that more is coming. But yeah, she is definitely a powerhouse, and it's kind of fun to kind of go back and think about, okay, this was before what we saw in Legends, so it's like you got to take that out of your mind and look at this with different eyes. So,
Well, like you mentioned Legends, like when we were about to start covering Legends, I was so excited to have a live action Hawkgirl because I loved this Hawkgirl so much. And then ultimately why the Legends version was such a letdown, because when you watch this Hawkgirl, you'll understand.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to get to learn more about her. I think what I loved about both her and how they introduced Wonder Woman is that they're written as extremely strong female characters. They're often they were often the first to rush in. They didn't pull any punches. Like, they didn't wait for direction. They're like, we know what to do. Like, we know what's going on. And so I just really loved that aspect about it. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing how they continue to evolve throughout the series.
Yeah.
So.
Of course, good strong women characters. It's it's amazing. Now the Flash. I mean, this isn't the CW Flash we're used to. This is the Wally West version, and he's a lot more cocky. He's a lot more flirty, full of jokes and one-liners. Nothing serious about this guy at all. Like, he really brings the humor in all the comical moments for this show. So I'm curious what you guys thought of his start.
yeah, I mean, he's a comic relief for sure, and Michael seems to have had a blast playing him.
Right.
Totally different from Lex, and just fun. I mean, it's just, I think it's more true to Rosenbaum's character of this guy, and so it's like just him letting loose. And like you said, this version of the Flash, he's cocky, but he learns, he grows, and he kind of sees how things are going. But yeah, it's just a fun character, and that comic relief that we need during the series. So
very much so.
Nice. Yeah, so I actually knew a little bit about this one just because I've listened to Rosenbaum's podcast for so many years, and he touches on it like now and again.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that I would remember from storylines, but just, he talks about his time. Like, I knew he was the voice of Flash. And I think it was during COVID. They had like a big reunion for this podcast. Like, do you guys remember that? I don't remember if where all they released it, but I'm pretty sure all of the actors came together. It was like during like the lockdowns of COVID and all of that. And I thought that might be fun to go back and listen to after actually watching the series.
Yeah.
Because I listened to it back in the day. I mean, and obviously now, like, it's so much more meaningful because not all the actors are still with us anymore. So it's just kind of cool. I think that might be kind of just like a fun thing to go back and listen to after spending time with the series. I listened to it and I'm like, I'm just listening to this because it popped up in my feed. But so now it's kind of cool. So anyway.
And what did you think of his portrayal of Flash? Like your intro to Michael Rosenbaum? Are you hearing Lex, or are you going, oh my God, he's actually really funny?
Oh God, no, because I never really watched Smallville. So like, to me, that's not how I know him. I know him as him because I've listened to his podcast for so many years. And I kind of like see him underneath the Flash mask. It's like a cartoon version of Michael is what I feel like I'm looking at. That's cool. How I'm picturing Wally West in my mind, is a red-haired Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, but you can totally hear it's him. Like, his voice is pretty recognizable.
100%. Yeah. Yes. Like at first it didn't quite sound like it because he does it's a little bit more higher pitched. It's a little, like, you can hear he's putting on a little bit of a voice for it. But there are times when it just comes like ringing through, and I'm like, that is Michael Rosenbaum.
Pretty fun, yeah. We'll see how it goes, how much you end up liking him as he goes. So Green Lantern, I know X-Force is really excited about this guy. It's the Jon Stewart version, which is really cool to have because up until this point, most people really only know the Hal Jordan version as the mainstay Lantern. So it's good to get to know a new one, the one that took up the ring after Hal Jordan. And Jon Stewart's amazing. Like, he's got a great voice actor playing him, and he just comes off the screen as really good. He's a little bit, not hot-headed, but he's a little bit over the top serious sometimes, and people need to smack him around a little bit, but he's a cool character for sure.
Yeah, like I said earlier, John is my Lantern, and I'm ready to follow him throughout this series. And I think he had been in the comics, but I think it's great because this Green Lantern gives a person for African Americans to look up to.
Yeah.
A hero that they can look up to. And in the comics, we had both the Barry and the Ollie storylines where they would team up, and a lot of it was dealing with social justice, and then they brought in Jon Stewart too. But I think it's great to have this powerful character and just have him out there as a role model, and we'll get to know him more throughout the series. So it's great. I'm glad that they brought him in here, and the role that he plays just within these couple episodes was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so far, like, I mean, I like Jon Stewart, and part of it is because I almost see David Ramsey kind of like in my head a little bit, like as Jon Stewart.
Totally.
So I'm definitely excited to learn more about like him as a Lantern, because also like my very limited knowledge was of New 52, Green Lantern run, and it was Hal Jordan, and I only read a few of the issues. Like I didn't read a ton of them, but that was kind of like my only experience with the Green Lantern comics. So.
Oh, cool. Well, good. I mean, good introduction to everybody here. So that is our team. Now, the opening sequence, I love. Like, I think it's a perfect sequence. The theme, music, the silhouetted heroes up against the sunset on the cliff there, and they all get these cool slow-mo. It's a pretty neat opening sequence when you look at it from an animation standpoint. I just love the sunset and the silhouettes. It was really neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Martian Manhunter, because you guys brought him up earlier. Also a great introduction to John Jones, because not a lot of people know Martian Manhunter's background. So this was a great dive into everything that he's about and why he's here. It made it a very believable story by having him explain about his civilization and all of their advancements, which were around long before, well, I wouldn't say long before humans on Earth. I should have reworded that. But a long time before humans had any technology advancements. The Martians already had it. So very similar, the way I kind of relate it is very similar to Atlantis in a way, like the history of Atlantis. They were so far advanced compared to, humans, the rest of the world. So that's where I kind of felt like it was. But then all of his stuff on Mars gets destroyed by the aliens he said over 1,000 years ago. So we never knew there was life on Earth on Mars, or life on Mars other than Earth until now, because we didn't have the technology back then to even know. So it's cool to find that all out. Like, Mars had a civilization and we had no idea. And now he is the last of his kind. And it's a tragic story. Like, it makes you really feel for him a fair amount right off the bat. In these opening 3 episodes, you're just like, oh my God, poor guy. Imagine being the last of your entire race. It's insane, of your species. And I think it's a great setup to come from him, because these aliens have been around for thousands of years, and it's his knowledge along with Batman's that figures out a way to beat them in the end. But what it did give us was a pseudo origin story for him without actually having to go through all of it. I mean, we had his full monologue as we're seeing basically flashback sequences as he's telling the story of what happened to his people 1,000 years ago. It was an origin story, but it was also a monologue, and just a great way to bring Martian Manhunter in and catch us up to everything that he is about. I really, really appreciated it.
Yeah, no, I agree. This absolutely felt like the origin for Martian Manhunter, and I thought that was pretty cool. I really like how they weaved his story like directly into the alien story. So like him being able to give us his origin and his background, which is very seamlessly woven into the background of the aliens and like why they were there. And it just kind of really fleshed everything out in a good way, but also very organically. So I really liked that. And then, of course, it introduces him to the team. It gives him a reason to be on Earth to begin with. And then it sets up why he ends up joining the team in the end. So I thought it was well done way to put it into the arc. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's neat because both John and Diana have fresh eyes, seeing this world really for the first time. And Jean's power set is so cool. I mean, being able to, turn intangible and fly and have the mental abilities and shape-shifting, it's really cool. And one, I enjoyed the Justice League movie, but not a whole lot, and I didn't enjoy the New 52 as much because John wasn't in there. He wasn't the one to bring
Right.
the team together in either of those things. So when I was reading the New 52, I was like, how can you really have the League without Sean in there?
Well,
But-
was it Shazam they replaced him with? Who was
they had Cyborg.
Cyborg was his replacement, right?
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where he is very powerful, and having him here, was a great introduction and a great quick look into the history of Mars and why it looks the way it looks and things like that. So it was just a really good start, and he was obviously one of the ones that we really needed to know an origin about.
Yeah, very true. And I also like with everything you guys are saying, I like that Superman can relate to him on the feeling of being alone, because as far as Superman knows, he's the last of his kind at this point, right? So it helps them become very trusted allies. It builds that bond right away because they both have that feeling of, I'm all that's left, and here we are. We can be brothers in battle, brothers in arms, and form relationships. I really also like that Superman's like, I got you, man. I know what it's like.
Yeah. I think I have a point on this later, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
It maybe is it might have been part of my scene. I don't know. I can't remember, so I'll just go ahead and say it here. But yeah, I like that they showcased that. Like, it was kind of neat to see the two be able to relate to one another in that way. So, he doesn't, yes, he is alone, but he also doesn't have to feel like he's completely alone because someone else actually does understand what he's going through. So it was interesting, interesting way to put that.
Yeah.
Well, just one thing that I want to touch on with Martian Manhunter in the third episode, when the alien leader has those tentacles and it goes right into his face and up his nose and under his skin, and you can see it writhing around underneath his skin. Even in a cartoon, I was going, ow, ow, ow. You could feel that. Yuck.
I know, it was painful to look at. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that had me cringing a lot.
I mean, jeez. Yeah, I can't even imagine. Ugh, not a good feeling. So the one point I want to bring up here, I want to talk a little bit about Superman. And because I have said a lot of times in all these various superhero discussions, I've always thought Superman is way overpowered. They gave him every power set in the book, heat, vision, freezing breath, strength involved. Like he's virtually unstoppable. But what I like what they did here early on this show is establish that he is not all that powerful. He's not a totally invincible being. And that, that's been in so many instances that we're used to seeing. Because within moments, he's taken out by Mind Blast. I mean, later we find out it's John Jones contacting him, but he's still taken down in the opening minute of the show. And then during the alien fight, the alien ships, those big walking things, their eye blasts also knock him around a lot as well, which really sets in the point that he needs help. He can't do everything. He can't be the only guy, Earth's mightiest hero, and do everything on his own. And because that used to always bug me as well. Like, Superman could just do everything. Why does he have to have anybody help him? It's just Superman. He's super, right? So I think it's great writing to establish early on that even Superman needs a team around him, because there are threats greater than him, and there are things that can take him down. A mind blast, magic, alien laser weapons. There are things that can hurt him, and he's not as all invincible as we've always seen him to be. So I really, truly appreciated that about this cartoon. Right off the bat, they established that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I loved is him seeing that he needs help at looking at situations, because he has had Earth's best interest at heart in helping them disarm the nukes and doing what he does as a normal hero.
Right.
But he was deceived in these episodes by the alien impersonating the senator. And I don't want a Superman that's without hope or goodwill, but I don't want one that's naive either. And so having others around him to help and see around corners and things like that is, especially Batman, is key to helping him do what he needs to be doing and not get fooled and have a little checks and balances there. So
Yeah.
I like the way that they're already setting up Batman and Superman as balancing each other out. Yeah, there's a need for the larger team, but especially those two of working in concert with each other to try to help each other to get around the areas where they have blind spots.
Well, just playing what you're saying, like because Batman has always seen the world in black and white. He sees the realistic world, and Superman's kind of been looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. Like he's such a Boy Scout that it's hard for him to see the reality of some things. And like you said, I think Batman's there to smack him around a little bit. Like, wake up, Supes. This is how it really is.
Yeah, and I mean, it really, I think, set up the need for a team well. Kind of like Jeff was saying, it explained like why Superman benefits from working with a team and that he shouldn't be the only line of defense, and he needs someone to balance him out, and so or a couple of someones to balance him out. So
Yeah.
I did like that. I felt like it worked well.
Yeah, and it also goes for all the other heroes as well, actually, because none of them were invulnerable to attack. Like, they all got beat down a couple times and even captured. And we're just not used to seeing that with these mighty heroes. Usually, we just don't see that with these guys, which I have always complained about DC. DC's heroes are like gods. They're too powerful. This show took them down a few notches right off the bat, and it's a good ground rule setting to establish. Like, that's right off the bat. Let's show that these heroes need each other. They can't do everything on their own, and right off the bat, that's the rule they set, and now we go forward. I just really liked it. And as an example, I mean, arguably on this show, the two heaviest hitters in Superman and Hawkgirl, I mean, they're the ones that get captured first. Who would have expected that? Out of this whole team attacking the ships and the mothership, you wouldn't think Superman would be the one that goes down first, and yet he is.
Yeah, and that's where I think they did a really good job with addressing those issues in this first arc, because that is, something. It'll be interesting to see how they keep it up going forward. I mean, but it was really well done in these first 3 episodes here, like, because they're very superpowered people, so it sets up the need for them to have to face very superpowered threats, but all of the time. So again, like, it'll be interesting to see how that ultimately like progresses in a quote like believable way, believable for a comic book.
Yeah.
I'm not getting crazy here.
Yeah.
So.
But you bring up a good point, because we know there's 26 episodes coming in season 1. There's 26 episodes in season 2. How does the show write in a threat worthy of an entire team of superpowered beings? It's going to be interesting to see. There's a lot that I don't remember, so I'm going to enjoy taking this journey with you, Harley, to see how you react to what the show throws at the heroes. It's going to be neat to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll definitely be fun. I'm sure there's lots of cool stuff they'll be able to get into.
I've seen a couple episodes again since then, but I remember very little. But yeah, I think this was a fun way to, I mean, they even had the line in the episode about Super Friends.
Yes.
They were talking about the name.
Yeah.
And, it's a way to bring in this team in a way that's not as funny and quirky as the Super Friends, but not necessarily super serious, because again, this was aimed at young folks, but it's fun for us as well. But it's a unique way of kind of bringing in that balance of fun and seriousness, and setting the right tone of building this team up together, and what battles are they going to actually come together to face. So
right. Well, and you did mention, you just said like it's a kid, meant for kids, but I always remembered enjoying this one because it didn't feel like a kiddie show. It didn't feel like it was meant for 6 to 10 year olds. Like, there's a lot of adult oriented humor and a lot of adult sized threats and drama that happens in the show that allows us to enjoy it, even at the ages we're at. You're just like, wow, there's some good storytelling here. The kids enjoy the cartoon aspect of, oh, superheroes, yay! But they're not they're not buying into the serious storyline that's actually underlining what's happening on screen. So it's just great. I think it's a great all ages type of show.
Yeah, I might have to have Madison sit down and watch some of it with me.
Yeah, see what her perspective is. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Now, my next point here, I hope you guys don't take offense to this because you guys are in the States and I'm up in Canada, but there's something that stood out to me here about their Superman storyline here, because I kind of like that they took away from him being the American-only hero and fighting for what we've heard for so many years, truth, justice, and the American way, quote-unquote. They immediately called him to a global conference where he claims that he's here to help the world, all countries, all races, everybody here. And we see him shaking hands with various leaders of all the different nations. So right away, they're taking the political agenda out of the story right off the bat. And I think that's fantastic. And it makes this a global series right off the bat.
Yeah, I actually really noticed that too. And I do think it was a very smart decision because it's going to help to make him and the whole team feel less overpowered in some ways, and the threats like more believable because, you know, they're kind of watching over the entire Earth. So I thought that was a very smart decision to not make it America-centric. That seems almost like too small, like too low stakes. Like it's got to be this big thing, you know, like global threats. So that was smart.
Yeah, I mean, so at the beginning, the heroes were out there, but they were kind of in their own lane. They were, you know, you had Batman in Gotham. So everybody was doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And this opens it up to say, to make it into the larger world and, you know, even beyond the world, because you've got John coming in as a Green Lantern who's been out and defending an entire sector of space.
Right.
So yeah, it's opening it up and making it more worldwide, and so it gives them the ability to still do their own thing in their own cities and their little own corners, but it opens them up to be able to be out there and do things worldwide. So bringing that balance of, you can't have a global threat every week, but you know that they're out there doing their thing. Like Batman's doing his thing in Gotham if you don't see him out with the League. So, you know, it kind of brings into balance of the heroes doing both the local stuff and the worldwide stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny, like the line "truth, justice, and the American way." Like he almost said it because you were expecting to hear. We've been hearing it for 75 years, and he even says in one of his interviews, he's like, "Yeah, I'm here for truth and justice." I'm like, "Oh, here it comes," and then he doesn't say it. I'm like, "Oh, what?" He just said something else. Like, okay, bit of a change there. But and I mean they've got a space station in space, so that also establishes that they are protecting the Earth, not just the United States, not just whatever country or city, Gotham or Metropolis. They're protecting the world, and that's a great base to begin from. Here's our watchtower. It's up in space. We are watching over the Earth.
Yep.
Yeah. And speaking of watching over, let's get into the alien threat. In going along with all of the thoughts that we were talking about and the origins and the heroes needing help, for this animated show, I think it was a good move to make it a global alien threat right off the bat, because that forces all the heroes to come together. Like you guys were saying in your opening monologue, it forces them all together to come together and realize that they need to be a team to defeat these aliens and save the Earth. Whereas on the live action shows and movies, for me, it quickly gets boring when it's always a global threat. There's always one lonely hero that has to solve the global threat and be able to do it all on their own, because we've always like, come on. You know, like the season 4 of Arrow when there was a nuclear warhead coming and only Arrow could stop it. Like, you know, like we've seen it time and time again. In live action, I think it's a very tiring concept. A global threat. Like we want to see our heroes doing local deeds and stuff, because it makes them more grounded, more believable. But here in an animated show, it works because you've got this many heroes, and they're not going to simply just stop bank robbers and save kitty cats from trees or whatever. There has to be a pretty big reason for them to come together and be a team, because there's an unstoppable alien threat, and I think it's a great start.
Yeah, it brings the heroes together, but it also shows them being a team requires work. You can't just do it yourself or, just plow forward, because we see that through their starts of Flash getting caught up in the gunk and John having to get him out, and we see, Superman and Hawkgirl getting captured and things like that. You have to know each other's skills, abilities, and each other's weaknesses so you can come together and help the team succeed. And so this was kind of their introduction to that, of seeing, I've done it this way, but I'm going to have to adapt now that we're working together.
Yeah, they really kind of made it believable. I agree. It needed to be a global and probably even very specifically an alien threat for this one, because of the way they introduced John and his story. And we needed to kind of understand how he fit, how he came. And so that made it sort of seamless. It brings all of our Earth heroes together. It introduces John, and it kind of sets Superman up in this way to not just be like America's protector anymore. And so they're all kind of having to like give up some of their stuff, or like maybe like learn something new. And then they also have to learn about how to work with each other. And so I thought that was a smart way to kind of throw them into it and start to figure it out, because it was just really high stakes, and it felt high stakes throughout the course of the whole arc. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right, like I said, right in the opening 30 seconds, Superman flies in to help Batman, and you've got this, you have no idea, it looks like humans, and you've got this fairly heavy-set woman. She walks up and she basically punches them out, and you're like, what is going on here?
Yes, my exact reaction. I was like, something's wrong with them.
Exactly. But then even the design of the aliens is very unique. Like, when you first see it, like, that's really weird. Like, things aren't proportional. Like you see the alien tripod shifts, but then when the aliens become, humanoid themselves, like they don't even have two eyes. They've got like a row of eyes down the one side of their head. And you're like, what is, like, this is so weird. Like, I'm not even used to it. But then again, it's like, it's alien. This is good. I mean, why would we expect it to be something that we should recognize or be familiar with? They're alien. They're from somewhere in the galaxy. They should look weird. And I thought that's actually a good design.
Yeah, the ships, the walkers, they're a real throwback to War of the Worlds, the tripods. And, and that way back in the day.
Immediately what I thought of.
Yeah. But the designs of the ships, how they flew, the aliens, the tech, it is alien, and it feels right. It's not, okay, this is the equivalent of this, and this is the equivalent. It's so much more organic, and there's not a line of like, this is tech and this is alien being. So you just don't know. You see some tech, but like there's not that distinction like that we're used to, and that's a big move on the first couple episodes of a new series of, okay, we're going to do aliens, and we're going to make it really alien and not go into any of the tropes, really. So
yeah,
we're going to make it really weird. It's going to be great.
Well, like I said, a good example, like how many times have we seen in other alien movies, like it would be an alien spaceship coming down. Oh my God, we can't beat them. They're how do we beat these guys? And Batman would come along. Oh, well, I'll just insert this hard drive into their alien computer and upload a virus, and yay, we win. It shouldn't work like that. So that's why it's so great that this was so far out there that nothing that we are used to would work.
Yeah, I do. I like that it was more like a organic biotech, like almost living technology, like stuff so evolved and so advanced, like well beyond like what we have. So I thought that was very interesting and a good take on something alien and an advanced civilization.
Yeah. Well, let's move into a different topic of discussion. You guys have sort of touched on this quite a bit in some of the responses you've been having, but I want to talk about how this team forming bonds with each other. What was cool that we see some of the heroes know each other. Like, it was great. Like Batman and Superman, they seem to have met before, And some only know of each other through news and stories, but they've never met or worked together. Like Flash making fun of Supes on the news during an interview. You know, he's never met Superman before, but he's making fun of him. That, you know, that's an example. So right off the bat, like, they have to form a trust with each other. And like you were saying, like, they have to learn how to figure out who's going to work with who and how does our abilities work and how their weaknesses and their strengths. Like, I just thought it was really cool to watch them have to go through that process and for us to learn, like, okay, these guys met. Superman and Batman know each other. Obviously, they've helped each other before. There seemed to be a commonality there, but then they separated. Like, okay, good luck, see you later, and off they went. They went back to their own things. But it was just fun to see that they don't all know each other. They're not all best buddies right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, we had Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series, and so there was some crossover there, but this was, you know, a real world building of taking kind of two isolated series, and you had maybe a little bit of crossover, but building a bigger one.
Yeah. And then as the episodes go on, we see them having discussions and learning about each other. Like I said, that moment with Wonder Woman and Green Lantern on the top of the rooftops there. We see, you know, Jon Stewart and Flash having to figure each other out in a battle. They're the only ones that weren't successful in fighting the alien tripods. So it's the beginning of them getting to know each other and form friendships. And it's just, like I said, it's just so cool to witness that, to witness them going, hey, you're Batman? Oh my God, Batman. And like they're excited to see each other. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah, what I loved was the partnerships starting that we will see throughout the series, the verbal barbs, the jokes, the flirting even, and all that and more are a great part of the series and these first 3 eps. And so it's just setting the groundwork for what's ahead.
I actually liked seeing all the different team ups and, you know, putting characters together that you wouldn't normally see together, or like that you don't get to see team up. Like, I mean, we've seen, you know, the Batman Superman thing, like that's a pretty common one that we see over the years, and so it's kind of fun to see like Flash be like, oh, I want to go work with the Amazon, and then he's paired with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's like the most like stoic, serious like character of the bunch, and so it was just interesting to see like how they put the different people together, and you know, Superman with Wonder Woman, where she just like rushes in headlong, like ready for fighting, and he's like, you're supposed to hang back, I'm supposed to be the protector. And it was really funny how they like kind of had those different pairings to play off of one another.
Very much so, yeah. Well, let's talk about Batman for a sec. It is theory time. So Batman survives. How the heck did he survive when he was cornered by a bunch of the aliens with no way out? The door got shut behind him. He couldn't get out. We see a bunch of aliens with their guns, and you see actually the gunshots hitting the door where he was standing. Blam, 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 blam. And you think, oh my God, like what happened to Batman? And even the rest of the team's like, yeah, he didn't make it. So did we miss something? Did we miss him and John Jones make a plan to defeat the leader in the end? Because we all know, like, he comes back in the end with the plan, and they reverse the ion charge and defeat the aliens. Like, where did all that happen? Because we didn't see it. So what is your theory how he got out of that situation when he was basically gunned down like a firing squad?
I'm Batman.
Yeah. So I believe Batman took out the aliens at the door, and what you saw were like them hitting the door as opposed to the shots. And
Okay.
Bats is a planner. And so I think he and John planned telepathically the breakdown because John has that ability. So I think he was like, okay, I've taken these out, you know, and John's like, I can shield you. And then I'm just, because I didn't remember this. And when he said Batman is dead, I was like, is he hiding something? Is he taken over by a shape-shifting alien? Because I didn't remember Right. And so I'm like, is this really John, or whatever? But I think he and Batman were planning things out telepathically. So
because why would they? You're thinking, are they going to kill one of the main characters right off the bat, and that's how the series
in an episode
begins?
like whatever 2 or whatever.
I mean, but we all know that he survives. I mean, it's not like some big secret. So I knew he wasn't dead, but at the same time, I was expecting him to have been captured. Like I wasn't expecting him to kind of like come back and save the day until you see all of them captured. And I'm like, well, I hope Batman's out there somewhere because he's their only hope.
The one guy that doesn't have superpowers.
Exactly. And I think that's what I do love about that is, like you said, they flipped everything on its head. The one guy without superpowers is the one who ends up like saving the day.
Yeah.
And I think I'm with Jeff. Like they had a plan. It was probably communicated like telepathically in some way, you know, however that really works. But you know, it was done on its head because at a couple points you do see Jean kind of like zone out almost. And so I think those were the points when he was doing something or like communicating with Batman or like whatever it was that they were doing, like coming up with a plan, or maybe like Batman had the plan because, you know, that's his thing. Like he's the detective. That's what he does. And so once Jean reached out to him, he's like, hey, this is the deal. Like, here's what's going to happen. And I think he more like clued Jean in as opposed to the other way around.
Right. And again, like how I appreciated they brought Superman down a few notches, this elevates Batman, because a lot of the people that aren't so much Batman fans, like a lot of the question is how is this guy super? How does he stand toe to toe or hold his own, or where's his value when he's just a guy with gadgets? And this helps establish for Batman that he's the guy with the plan. Like you guys said, he's the smart one. He's the one that studies every situation. He's the strategist. That is where he helps the team, is he can step back and analyze the situation and know the strong points, the weak points, the best way to go about things. That's where Batman's true value comes into the team. And this really highlights that.
Absolutely. Love Batman.
So it's pretty cool. But how surprising was it for you at the end? I know, Jeff, maybe you didn't remember this, but Harley, he decides not to join the team in the end. He's saying, I'm not a people person. Typical Batman. But everybody's like, yay, woo, this is going to be fun, this is exciting. He's like, here's the station. Take the space station, but call me if you need me. I don't want to join the team.
Yeah, but he's like really part of the team. He's like, call me if you need me, and you will need me.
Yeah.
That's Batman joining the team. I mean, come on.
Yeah. He's not a people person, he says, but he has a big bat family. But, you know, all joking aside, he is slow to trust. And even when he does, he's got contingency plans. Like he has a plan to take down every member of the Justice League if they go rogue. Like that's the thing. Like in the comics and other things, you know, he's got a plan to take everybody down. So he's slow to trust. And so we get to see that here. So I'm fine with him taking the slow road to join the team. So,
very true. All right, well, the last point I really had is if you guys can remember, and I just wrote a couple down here, but just some fun moments from overall the 3 episodes. If you guys remember anything that you just went, that was great. So one of the ones that I liked was seeing each hero use their abilities to their advantage in key moments. I think it really separates their individual talents, because at first they were overwhelmed. They didn't know how to beat these aliens, but then slowly as they started learning, they had to use their very specific abilities to win each individual battle that they're in. And I like that. I like, you know, here's the team coming together, but now we also have to see what can each hero do. Let's see what's great about each member of the new team. So it was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And then at the end, I this was just a cool moment. So this is like, fun moments when they're defeating the mothership, the mother alien, and they're all trapped inside. And we learn that the aliens are susceptible to the sunlight. It melts them like, like wax. I loved when everybody is taking turns punching holes in the roof of the alien ship, and they're all doing it their own way. Superman and Wonder Woman are flying up and boom, 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 just crashing, and Hawkgirl's up there smashing with her mace, and then Green Lantern's punching. I just love each of them was taking turns punching a hole in their own individual way. That to me made me laugh.
Yeah, and you get to see like in the mop up of the other aliens at the end, because I'm glad that they said, we drew these ones off, but we've got to get rid of the rest. But like seeing them taking out the other ships and doing that now that they know how to do it. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then one of the funny lines to me, which made me question a couple of things, Batman, when Superman's walking around the ship, he's like, wow, this is great. Like, how'd you come up with this? Where'd you get the money for? What do your investors think about this? And he's like, it's nothing more than a line item in a space R&D budget of Wayne Industries. And I'm like, okay, but how many billions of dollars did this just cost? You built a space station, man. What do you mean it's just a line item? Like, who built it? How much did it cost? Like, holy cow, Batman.
Yeah, and we don't know how much time has elapsed between, one thing and the other. It's like, did he have this already on the drawing board and then halfway built and then just anyway,
it was already there. It was already up there, and he's like, hey, let's put this to good use. That's how I see that.
That's probably how I took it.
Yeah.
It's just a line item on the ledger. Don't worry about it. I mean, that
Said
also
like a true billionaire.
It shows you how much money he actually has. Yeah, it's just so funny. But any fun moments you guys can remember that you want to bring up? Any ideas? That's just what I had off the top of my head.
I mean, I liked any of the moments where Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl were just taking charge and just doing their thing. I really, there's a phrase that's popping into my head from Ted Lasso that's not exactly clean, but it's said about Rebecca quite often. So
okay,
they were being those.
Gotcha. Well, what did you think? Like Hawkgirl, I mean, she flies with wings. She's not really strong herself, but her mace is where all the power comes from. What did you think of seeing that? Like, that mace is friggin' amazing what she could do with it.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I did find myself wondering if they explained more about it, just because I just didn't get how it worked. Like, it looked like electrified or something.
Yeah.
I was just kind of trying to figure out what it did and why it was super strong and how it was doing what it was doing. So, I had those usual nerdy questions of, hey, how does that actually work?
I think they explain, don't they, Jeff? Later in the series, there's some history.
They will.
Yeah.
They'll explain it. Okay, cool.
Because
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah. At this moment in time, it's kind of like Thor's hammer is how I'm taking it.
Okay. I can accept that.
Yeah. Kind of idea.
I was laughing when they were getting gassed and they really showed that it takes willpower and concentration for Green Lantern to use his power, because Diana was like, hey, use your ring, and he can't, because he's he doesn't have the willpower and the control and that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where it's not just yellow that takes out the Green Lanterns. You've got to have that willpower and that other stuff. So
right.
Yellow and wood, are those his kryptonite?
And then when they're rescuing folks from the ship, and Superman is getting Flash to help him, and Flash is picking up the guy, and he's all gooey, and he's like, yuck, and Superman's like, come on,
grow up, man.
Yeah.
That's Flash. I mean, Flash had so many funny moments in this, and you'll hear a couple in my favorite scene too, like when he first meets Wonder Woman and stuff. I just love his flirty nature. He's hilarious. But one thing that I wanted to key on about Superman, when they were all trapped and Batman comes to the rescue, I love how Superman can completely control his heat vision. Like, he can send out a blast if he wants, but if he needs to get down to a scalpel-sized laser beam, he can do that so that he can cut through the alien holes without hurting the person that's in there. And I just love that he can have that kind of control. He can focus it so small to make it just like a scalpel cut. It was just cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all we got for our opening 3 episodes of the Justice League. So we're going to pause for a quick ad break. If there's anything here, just let you guys know that is still coming. And then we'll be right back for our favorite scenes.
Shape out an eagle!
All right, so favorite scene time. And if we're going in order, yes. Okay, so mine comes first. I'm calling this one Time to Team Up. And this is a couple clips I put together when the team first all gathers on the cliffs after their first battle, and they're getting to know each other, and then they have to split off into teams. So I kind of put those 2 moments together. Here's Time to Team Up.
Hey, Bats! I think you dropped this. Whoa. Where have you been all my life?
Themyscira.
Huh?
The home of the Amazons. I always thought it was merely a legend.
I assure you, it's as real as the ground on which we stand. I am Diana, Princess of the Amazons.
Pinch me, I must be dreaming. Ow!
Themyscira is protected by the gods, but I could not idly stand by while the rest of the world was in danger.
It was lucky you showed up when you did.
No, not luck. I telepathically summoned them.
Look, I'm usually pretty quick on the uptake, but would someone please tell me what the heck is going on here?
So, Jean Jones, you came from Mars to warn us?
This is just too weird.
I've seen stranger things.
We first encountered them 1,000 of your Earth years ago.
What are they doing?
The invaders are nocturnal. They want to blot out the sun so they can live in perpetual darkness.
Friends of yours?
It's no joke.
What's the big problem? Can't you just whip up another batch of that nerve gas?
Unfortunately, no. The gas can only be made from a rare Martian plant. I brought a sample with me, but it was destroyed when I was captured.
What's plan B?
We'll have to take out those factories.
Lady, this is no job for amateurs.
We Amazons are warriors born. Want to test me?
Let's not fight among ourselves. John, we're gonna need all the help we can get.
Fine. Sorry, Your Highness. Tactically, we'll have multiple objectives, so we'll need to split into teams.
Kids on the Amazon. You are no fun!
This isn't supposed to be fun. We've got a job to do, and we will do it better without distractions, understood?
Yeah, I hear
you. Dibs on the Amazon.
That was funny.
Good old Flash. There you go. That's the team getting together for the first time. And it's just fun. The Flash's little, remarks and flirtations and jokes with Batman. They're nocturnal. They don't like the light. Oh, friend of yours, Batman? Like, it's just...
It's so fun.
Such fun stuff there. Yeah, great start to the team up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch closely, what I appreciate too, if you watch the animation closely, they also have really funny facial expressions to what's going on. Mm-hmm. Some of them they're wearing masks, like even though they have the white eyes, even the white eyes are like squinting or wide-eyed or whatever. Like, it's pretty fun. But I love when Flash runs up, he's like, "Dibs on the Amazon," and Wonder Woman's basically jaw drops and her eyes go really big. But what? All right, X-Force, you're up next.
All right, I called this one, Let's See What She Can Do. So let's take a listen.
Hiding like cowards is not the Amazon way.
They must have a weakness. When we find it, we'll strike.
I have scouted the outer walls. There are no openings.
Then we'll make our own.
Wait. Let's see what she can do.
Give me strength. There's your opening.
Not bad.
I love it. I love it. Batman just really wanting to see what she can do and how she's gonna go after things and trusting her enough to let her do it, but just getting to see her kick butt was amazing. And using the walker, the tripod.
Oh no. I have a whole page of notes of Jeff disappearing.
I am on my hotspot. Why am I being kicked out? Anyway,
I don't know. You're not going through your Wi-Fi on your hotspot, though, right? It's cell data.
Yeah, it's cell data. I've got Wi-Fi turned off. So I don't know.
Maybe pushing the video is too much data for it. I know it's.
Yeah, I don't know. But
who knows? You got cut off in your last thought there.
Yeah. So I really liked getting to see her use the tripod to break into the ship. So using their own, materials to break into the ship and make the opening. That was so cool.
Yeah. Well, and like you're saying, like Batman, let's see what she can do. He also wants to see what she can do so he can analyze her and understand what she's all about. Therefore, he's building a mental profile of Wonder Woman already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. He wants to know every advantage, every possible way to make a plan and best use the team. So love it.
Yep, exactly. All right, Harley, wrap it up for us.
Absolutely. So I chose I believe one of the final scenes of the third episode, and I called it the Super Friends Form a Justice League.
Most impressive. But what's it got to do with us?
I once thought I could protect the world by myself, but I was wrong. Working together, we saved the planet. And I believe that if we stayed together as a team, we would be a force that could truly work for the ideals of peace and justice.
What? Like a bunch of super friends?
More like a Justice League.
Do you have any idea how corny that sounds? But maybe the big guy's got a point. With all of us behind it, it just might work. Count me in.
Me too.
And me.
My mother may not approve, but I find Man's World to be intriguing. I'll gladly join.
What about you, Batman?
I'm not really a people person. But when you need help, and you will, call me.
Understood. Then we're all agreed.
Wait, Jean's not here.
Yeah, where is he?
Jean, are you all right?
My family and loved ones are long gone. I am the last of my kind.
I know the feeling.
Now, Mars is dead, and I am alone in the universe.
Jean, we can never replace the family you've lost, but we'd be honored if you could learn to call Earth your home. Come on.
There we go.
And there we have it.
There we
have
Justice
League Origin.
Justice League Origins, exactly. We have lost X-Force. He's been really struggling with some internet issues, so he's been hopping in and on and off again, and we've restarted the favorite seat section quite a few times, but looks like we may have lost him permanently this time. So yeah, we are going to move on just so we can wrap the show up, and it's time to get into feedback. But first, we want to remind you how you can support the show if you decide you would like to do that.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
If you don't dial it, we'll cry like a violin.
All right. Let's kick it off with a voicemail from Dad L.
Hello, Legends. This is Dad L with my thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Justice League. Well, right off, I'll just say this is better than the movie. But it's been a long time since I've seen this, so I think I'm going to join you all on this rewatch. Of course, the alien invasion, that's always a classic way to bring the Justice League together. I like how the first episode, how it was mainly focused on Batman and Superman. It was a good way to reintroduce the characters to us, and then in the next episode, they start to bring the League together. So I thought that was good. One thing I noticed, I didn't remember Batman having such purple in his costume in this series, but I guess that's to differentiate him a little bit. But overall, I really like Justice League. I'm looking forward to watching it. Thought it was a great way to kick off the series, and also liked this incarnation of John Stewart. That was a big thing that came out of Justice League was John Stewart, Green Lantern, gave him a good backstory. So I'm looking looking forward to seeing more of him and remembering all the things related to him and his character and development. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was a great start, and I like how a lot of the alien stuff was centered around John Jones. He had the backstory with him, so that was a good way to introduce him. All around, I just thought it was a great way to start off this series. So my rating is 9 power rings, Dad-El, last father of Krypton.
Nice.
Excellent
stuff there, Dad-El. I do have to, you guys that are sending in voicemails, just be careful of how you're recording and make sure you're speaking right into the microphone of your phone or whatever it is you're recording, because Dad-El, it was really, really hard to hear you, and I did what I could to clean it up, but you sounded really quiet and really distant. So just make sure, you guys, when you're sending in voicemails, that it's a good environment you're in and the device you're using is reliable, like your phone. Just speak right into it, so we can get your voice properly heard on the show. And I'm just glad you're enjoying it. It's good kick. And did he say in the beginning? Did he say he's seen the show before, or is he brand new to it?
Yes. No, he's seen it, but like you, it's and Jeff, it's just been a while.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. All right. Well, next up is an email from Perry White, and you can take this one, Harely.
All right. Hey, Legends. Perry here with feedback for the first 3 episodes of the Justice League Secret Origins. It's been forever that I watched the series, and honestly, I didn't follow the storylines diligently. I sort of just dropped in and out. So these first 3 episodes were kind of a mystery, which is cool. So let's get into what I liked and didn't like, which was actually one thing: how the show demonstrates power levels. In most iterations, Superman is like the most powerful person in the universe, so it's a struggle to tell compelling action stories. If he was overpowered, there's no drama, and he'd never need the League. The same is true for John Jones, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, and whoever is writing for Batman. In their own titles, they're undefeated. But having them face opponents they can't beat by themselves highlights their abilities and vulnerabilities at the same time. Basically, it makes them relatable and makes for better stories. But at the same time, I can't lie. I do get a bit exasperated seeing Soups and John and others get their arses handed to them at times, but I'll get over that. Anyway, as far as the 3-episode opening, I like how it took the time to demonstrate the importance of teamwork, no matter how impulsive the Flash was, how brash Shiera is, or how reluctant Bats can be. It was a solid way to open the series, and I like that John was the heart and soul of the team, telepathically pulling the team together. We often talk about the Trinity when it comes to the nucleus of the Justice League, but I'd argue John is the most important because Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman can all see bits of themselves within John. He's an alien like Soups, he's an investigator like Bats, and he's somewhat naive to the world in a similar way to Diana.
Oh. He's
a glue for them all, and I like that his story is at the center of the first 3 episodes. I give this episode 7.5 nuclear missiles that Superman was duped into destroying. Anyway, I'm looking forward to taking this rave-riding trip to the Watchtower with the rest of you Legends. This has been Perry White making his first Justice League deadline. Make sure the Flash and Diana don't drink all the iced mochas from that fully stocked kitchen at the Watchtower. Rate Caesar's Ghost.
That's right. Yeah, Wonder Woman was actually giving it a taste and liking it. He's like, stick with me. I'll show you the ropes.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm glad you guys are off to a decent start. So that this show, it does grow and get better and better and better. I think you guys are going to have fun with it. Remember, I mean, what was the year it came out in? 2000 and...
Jeff said, yeah, 2001.
So it's, holy cow, that makes it 24 years old. So the fact that we're watching it now and it's still holding up and you know, it's fun. Just remember when it was made.
That's a very good point. We should remember when it was made. Because some of the humor might... I mean, I found it amusing, but yeah. I can see how some of it might start to get a little dated, but it's okay.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, don't expect a lot of political correctness in maybe some scenarios. We'll have to see how it plays. I mean, it was a cartoon. I doubt it really goes into that much, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Sounds like you're back, X-Force. I heard you there laughing.
Yep.
Kind of, just the vote. Yeah, we had to go on. You seem to really be struggling there, so we just expressed that you're having internet issues, and we're going to go on with the feedback. So.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, you guys heard it here. If you would like to be part of the show and help us talk about this great cartoon from a blast from the past, let's tell you how you can do that.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends Podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
Yeah, well, there we go, guys. Justice League has begun.
Indeed.
And we already got just 23 episodes left. So, I mean, if we're knocking them off in story arcs, we will get through this pretty quick.
That's true, because each arc 2 to 3 episodes.
Two.
Yeah,
usually.
I don't know if there's any single standalone episodes. Do you remember if there's any?
Not this season, I don't think.
Okay, so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. And they're short. Like, when you were sitting down watching them, they're only 20 minutes long. Like, they go by pretty quick.
Yeah, it went by pretty quick.
Yeah. So, I mean, 3 of them was just like watching a regular TV show episode. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right then. Very fun stuff. I'm glad to get into it. So we will be doing this every Friday, guys. You got till Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern to get your feedback in. So we'd love to hear from everybody out there. But we will leave it at that. Everybody have a good weekend. And Justice League episode 4 and 5, I guess, next week. Is that what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good stuff. We'll talk to everybody then. This is The Flash, my version, signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
This is X-Force 11, so say we all.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.